What you're about to see is going to leave you utterly shocked. And I want you to listen closely. We want you to listen closely because somebody sent us this video on Instagram. And let me tell you, it is speaking the straight truth about what is happening in the Matrix. If you can pick up what I'm putting down.
You have to pick it up. You have to know this truth. So listen to the end and really take this into consideration of what this guy is saying. So stay tuned. Let's look at the video.
Yes, we are bored. We're all bored now. But has it ever occurred to you, Wally, that the process that creates this boredom that we see in the world now may very well be a self-perpetuating, unconscious form of brainwashing?
Self-perpetuating, unconscious form of brainwashing. Like, can we just stay there and meditate on this terminology? Self-perpetuating. This is where people don't like to take accountability, especially in Western society. Self-perpetuating, brainwashing, meaning there's nobody like pulling the strings. You are brainwashed because you are agreeing with the sentiment, but we're going to see what the sentiment is.
Created by a world totalitarian government based on money, and that all of this is much more dangerous than one thinks. And it's not just a question of individual survival, Wally, but that somebody who's bored is asleep, and somebody who's asleep will not say no.
Think about that. Are you asleep? Is he talking to you? Are you asleep? Are you saying no? Like, no, y'all tripping. I don't know what y'all talking about. That's part of being accountable. You have to be accountable and realize, like, dang, maybe I am brainwashed. Because all of us was.
Yeah.
But the choice is yours not to be. Like, you really have to be present. You got to be present. You got to realize what's going on. And this been happening for years.
I think what really stuck out about that part of the video was he said that those who are asleep and are brainwashed cannot say no. Meaning there are people out there, especially in Western society, especially in our community, there are people out there that cannot snap out of it, that cannot snap out the system. That it's like an incapability. They're not able to do it. These are the people that will come and travel around the world and say, okay, something's pulling me back to America. Then you'll have people like us that stay outside of America for 5 years plus, and it's like, I don't miss it. It's because we're not attached to that society and that brainwashing like that. We're not brainwashed really right now in any way, actually. We're actually pretty free-minded. We think pretty freely. Obviously, it takes time to let go of the brainwashing. But after you stay outside of the West for a time span, and I was also thinking about this when I was listening to this video earlier, the fact, and it just gets better as we go along. This is really just the first part of the video. But I was thinking about how a lot of people in the West become so brainwashed and they cannot see outside of the system. And he's later in the video going to talk about, I thought about leaving the West. I think I want to leave. I want to go somewhere. And I don't know how to not leave. And it's like, that's literally what it's like for a lot of people. So unless you're an alternative thinker, unless you're someone that's able to think for yourself critically, you're not going to resonate with this. You're going to go with what the propaganda machine tells you to think, what they tell you to have opinions about. We were talking about this last night. I don't know if y'all noticed the shift, but like Beyonce in 2019 compared to Beyonce in 2025, two totally separate people. I saw that shift and I'm like, why in 2019? It was very much freedom, all that stuff she was saying. Y'all know all that stuff she was talking about. But now in 2025, it's like this patriotic, like platinum blonde hair, very patriotic, very much like we are Americans and we are going to fight for the country and all of these. And it was like a switch in the system, a switch in messaging and propaganda that people are feeding into. So it's like you don't really think for yourself. You just replicate and regurgitate what the propaganda machine wants you to speak, which is what they're going to get to later in the video.
Exactly. And I do want to say this, talking about thinking, because if you think for yourself, right? If you take it back, just say 5 years ago, right? And you was really thinking for yourself and you telling people, hey, don't do it. Don't do this. Don't do that. It's like, oh no, you're like a conspiracy theorist, right? But these conspiracy theorist people now, the truth come out, right? So you have to think for yourself. And I know this video is, I know because when I was thinking, like when I was watching it, I'm like, oh, people gonna be like, oh, you're crazy, right? So let's just get back to the video and let me know what you guys think.
See, I keep meeting these people. I mean, just a few days ago, I met this man whom I greatly admire. He's a Swedish physicist, Gustav Bjornstrand, and he told me that he no longer watches television, he doesn't read newspapers, and he doesn't read magazines. He's completely cut them out of his life because he really does feel that we're living in some kind of Orwellian nightmare now, and that everything that you hear now contributes to turning you into a robot.
What do you think about that? Is everything that you see, all the propaganda, all the media, all the entertainment, just everything that you see is turning you into a robot, turning your subconscious, your mental. You get what I'm saying? Your physical, your spiritual into a robot. Because it comes down to who are you being molded by? Are you going to be molded by the ruler of this world, or are you going to be molded by the ruler of the universe? Because it really breaks down to that. Like, being brainwashed is your choice. Do what you want or do what the Most High wants.
Yeah, because it's clear that a lot of humans' thoughts are not their own. I mean, you can just tell in the comments, you talk to some people, it's like, in a way, and this is why he says they're robots. He's going to get to a point in the video where he says that humanity is going to come across as robots. He's not talking about physical robots being on the streets, although that may happen soon. He's talking about you will talk to people that are on a robotic playlist, that are regurgitating propaganda, so that you have someone that has free thinking, that has alternative methods, that homeschools, that runs their own business, that wants to be self-reliant, travel, and you will have these propaganda bots that are not agents, that are not people that are of the government, but they function in that way because their thoughts are manufactured. They don't have their own thinking.
Exactly. They got an answer for everything quick. And it's like, dang, that sounds like...
Did you even think before you spoke?
Yeah, like, you got an answer for everything, huh? Huh. Hold on. But yeah, let's get back to the video.
This extraordinary English tree expert who had devoted his life to saving trees. Just got back from Washington, lobbying to save the redwoods. He's 84 years old. He always travels with a backpack because he never knows where he's going to be tomorrow. And when I met him at Findhorn, he said to me, "Where are you from?" And I said, "New York." He said, "New York, yes, that's a very interesting place. Do you know a lot of New Yorkers who keep talking about the fact that they want to leave but never do?" And I said, "Oh, yes." And he said, "Why do you think they don't leave?" I gave him different banal theories. He said, "Oh, I don't think it's that way at all." He said, "I think that New York is the new model for the new concentration camp, where the camp has been built by the inmates themselves, and the inmates are the guards, and they have this pride in this thing they built. They've built their own prison, and..."
Think about that.
New York.
You built your own prison. You are your own guard. So you built this whole prison. And when I'm talking about this, you really got to think mental. Like, it's mentally blocking you. It's like really caging you mentally.
Yeah, because you'll fight for the American dream while the American dream is slaughtering you. In one token, and he's going to get to this in the video, and it just stuck out so much. This is why the scriptures say an unstable man is unstable in all his ways. As we were listening to this video and I'm thinking through it, I'm like, wow, this is why you will have people. And we're not going to be lukewarm anymore. It's 2025. We don't have time for lukewarm. Y'all don't have time. We don't have time. You have people that are of the truth, that read the scriptures, but will continue complaining about racism to the point where the point is exhausted, and in the same breath, unwilling to travel abroad. How can it be these two things? How can you complain about it all of your life, and in the same breath, you're like, well, I gotta stay here for the rest of my life. All my generations after me are gonna be here. I built this place. It's schizophrenic. It doesn't make sense. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. It would be better just to be quiet about it if you want to live in that society, then stop complaining. Then just deal with that society. It's like, choose one. It's hot or cold, choose one. But if you're going to complain, don't just complain. Do something about it. Be solutions oriented. Which again, solutions oriented sounds like a totally different language because you've been propagandized from the time you came out the womb. You've been fed propaganda Then you came in to know a little bit about the Bible, but then you continue to perpetuate propaganda, and so the scripture comes into play. A double-minded man is unstable in all of his ways, not one or two ways, all of his ways. And so you have this instability. One minute you hate how the system is working, the next minute you love it. One minute you're pro whatever you say you are, and then the next minute you're like, well, this is the best country on earth. One minute you're like, there has to be a way to get out of here. There has to be a way to think on my own. The next minute you're like, well, everywhere else in the world's like that too. It's like,
yeah, you gotta solve the problem, because it's not just problems. No, you are the problem solver.
you
Well,
can't
really,
be.
the Most High is the problem solver, and once you really have that relationship with the Most High, there's no problem that you cannot fix. That
Yeah.
he will lead you to the solution.
Yeah.
It's simple, guys. It's simple. So let's just finish this video off.
So they exist in a state of schizophrenia where they are both guards and prisoners, and as a result they no longer have, having been lobotomized, the capacity to leave the prison they've made or to even see it as a prison. And then he went into his pocket and he took out a seed for a tree and he said, "This is a pine tree." He put it in my hand and he said, "Escape before it's too late."
Do you believe that it's too late? Are you going to escape before it's too late? Think about that. Is it too late? Because it seems like they put the truth right in front of your face and the choice is yours. Like, it is what it is right now. Like, you have to, if you want to, you got to do it. If the Most High is pulling you out, you got to get out of there. Or, to be honest, when you travel, you have to get used to traveling. You have to be a good human being. You can't be an ignorant, not knowing. When I say ignorant, like, you can't just go into somebody's country or somebody's neighborhood or somebody's community and think it's your community. So there's a humbleness, there's a humility thing that comes with traveling. So if you're not used to that, it might be too late.
I think it is too late for a lot of people, the way that he says this. And think this video was what, in the 60s, maybe around that time. And so this was over 50 years ago. And, you know, at this time, he thinks he's one of the last people to be free thinking. You know, whether this is a movie or legitimate, they put it right in your face.
Yeah.
He thinks he's one of the last people. It's a movie. He's thinking, okay, I'm one of the last people to believe this, to even see humanity for the way that it is. And if you think about it, the generations that have come before us, this is why you will have people that are growing older but not growing wiser. I was thinking about my grandmother. My grandmother is 90-something years old. I had a aunt who passed away at 114 years old. And I said they aged with such wisdom and grace. And you just don't see this in the elders that they have out there today. You just don't. There's no grace. There's no self-control. I look at these women, and part of the reason I believe they were able to live so long is because they did not complain their whole life away. These were very positive women, even in the times where they had, you know, their husbands, people they knew getting hosed down by whatever was going on in America, having all of these issues with oppression. But here we are in times where those things are not as insane as they used to be. And yet we complain more. Mm-hmm. And if you don't complain enough, people will demonize you. If you don't have enough complaints, people will have an issue. If you cannot find everything on earth to complain about, and it's like you will waste your life or end up not living out even to just a half a century because you don't know how to be positive. I mean, most people aren't going to live to the age of 114. So I look at someone that was in proximity to me in my family and I look and say, okay, how was her demeanor? How did she live that and was still in her right mind, didn't have Alzheimer's or anything. She was in her right mind at 114 years old. Like, how did that come to play? I look at my grandma. She's 90-something years old. How is this coming into play? There's a level of graciousness. There's a level of self-control. Didn't smoke, didn't drink. There's this level of wisdom. There's this level of positivity where it's like, oh, these ladies didn't cuss. They didn't complain. They were married to one person their entire lives. They had children. It was just regular. But in today's American Western society, oh my gosh.
And,
I'm gonna just leave it there. Oh my gosh.
and I say, it really comes down to your environment too. Like if you don't have a positive environment, that's going to affect you eventually.
That's true.
Like really, because when I was meeting your aunt and stuff, everybody really cared for her. She really cared for other people too. It was positive. The environment was good. You get what I'm saying? It was the environment was healing. It wasn't to tear you down.
Right.
So the environment is very important.
That's true,
You're
because she
gonna be
wasn't
a
in a
product-
nursing home.
Yeah, you're going to be a product of the environment eventually. Just say I watch this show called SWAT sometimes, right? And it's this white SWAT officer, right? He goes and buy a house in the hood, and he gets involved in the neighborhood.
Hood stuff.
You get what I'm saying? He wasn't from there, but he gets involved because he wants to help and this and that. But that's a perfect example of he just bought the house in a bad neighborhood, and then now the neighborhood's problems will affect him, and he wants to help, which wasn't bad, but he wasn't from that neighborhood. So as soon as he moved into that environment, he's getting involved in the environment.
In hood problems.
Yeah. So let's finish this off, guys.
Get out. And we really feel like Jews in Germany in the late 30s. Get out of here. Of course, the problem is where to go, because it seems quite obvious that the whole world is going in the same direction. See, I think it's quite possible that the 1960s represented the last burst of the human being before he was extinguished, and that this is the beginning of the rest of the future now, that from now on there'll simply be all these robots walking around, feeling nothing, thinking nothing, and there'll be nobody left almost to remind them that there once was a species called a human being, with feelings and thoughts, and that history and memory are right now being erased, and soon nobody will really remember that life existed on the planet.
That's deep. Is life going to exist on a planet?
Not the way it's supposed to. You already see.
Like what?
You already see it.
You gotta think of like, what is life? Like, what do people see life as? What do people see living as? Like, that's deep. That's a deep thought.
Yeah. Whew. We can rant on this. This is gonna be a series, because I mean I got segments. I got like 5 different segments going in my mind right now with how deep this is. You can take it to the marriage, you can take it to children, homeschool, entrepreneurship, agriculture, travel. Those are the buckets. But look, it's gonna have to be a series, because I got these buckets in my brain, and I gotta write them and get them out and articulate them to y'all, because it's like,
yeah,
that
it goes to every single level. Like it really hits every single
health.
level. Everything
Can't talk
that
about
she just
that as
said.
much here.
Like really, there's healing out here. There's healing out here, but you have to choose. You have to be the one that wants it. It's not what you want to do. It's what the Most High is calling you to do.
If you're capable, because remember what he said.
Yeah.
Most are not even capable of having this logic. Most people are of a reprobate mind.
Exactly.
Meaning the switch is already off, the lights are already dim, the scales are already on their eyes, and they're going to continue to function like that. And it's just as the scripture says, narrow is the path, few be that find it.
Yep. It gets deep, y'all. It really
Narrow
gets
is the
deep.
path, few be that find it. The meek shall inherit thee. These aren't sayings that Yahusha just said like, oh, these are cute. Like, narrow is the path, meaning there's like 1 or 2 people on the path. Few be that find it. I'm going to call you 1 from a city, 2 from a country. And this was way before this clip was created. So his words are alive. His words are working. That's why when people say, oh, the Bible's the white, I will keep the Bible with me until my last breath.
It's living.
Because it's real.
Life. It's living. It's life. So what is living and what is life to you? That's the question that you need to ask yourself.
Answer it down below. Let us know.
Leave it in
We
the
know what it
comments.
is, but you tell us.
Exactly. So, get out your comfort zone. Travel, guys. Get out of your homeland. If you're in the West, get out, because you're going to be a product of that environment.
You already are.
But you have to want to heal. You have to want to break those chains, mental chains. Like don't stay there, please. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Make sure you wake up. I think that's what you were saying, right?
Yeah.
Wake up, right?
Yeah.
Make sure you like the video. We greatly appreciate you guys. Comment below your thoughts and share this with somebody that you believe that could help break the mental chains off. So we'll talk to you next video, guys. And peace and blessings to you. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.